Sharks versus humans. Why is there a drop in sharks? An estimated 100 million sharks are killed every year around the world, a number that far exceeds what many populations need to recover, according to National Geographic. Some facts to understand sharks and see their unique qualities. So sharks have high developed senses, including electroreception, which means that they can sense animals that are miles away in the water based off of their movement. Their jaw isn't attached to their skull, which helps them eat easier. They don't have to eat for up to a month, maybe sometimes a year, because oil fills up their stomach. And I got that fact from Shark's World. And according to National Geographic, they can travel up to 12,400 miles in 9 months. Understanding sharks' behavior and habitat. Sharks tend to live alone except for when they mate. And a lot of people think that sharks attack humans. That's a common trend that people think, but they only usually attack humans out of curiosity or if they mistake them for their own food. Sharks are very adaptable to habitats. They tend to live near coasts, open water, or the ocean floor. Most sharks tend to live in salt water, while others live in fresh water. Understanding sharks' diet and ecological niche. So sharks usually eat fish, crabs, or other sharks. And they also like sea mammals. For example, seals are very popular. A fun fact is hammerhead sharks, they're known for eating stingrays. So sharks tend to eat at the top of the food chain, and their only other predators are other sharks or killer whales. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about 5 different sharks just to give you a broad spectrum on what they're all about. So the bull shark tends to live in shallow waters. They're known to be aggressive and they headbutt their prey before they devour, which is where they get their name. They are considered the most likely to attack humans, but then again, they only attack out of curiosity or by accident. And according to National Geographic, bull sharks are fished widely for their meat, hides, and oils, and their numbers are likely shrinking. So because they're getting hunted, less bull sharks are able to repopulate, and repopulating takes a long time for sharks. And so eventually, if they keep getting fished, they could go extinct. Another common type of shark is the tiger shark. They are calm, friendly, curious, and they have dark stripes when they're born, and that's how they get the name tiger shark. They are known for attacking humans and attacking and not swimming away. But then again, this is if they attack humans. I think this fact is just given because so many people think that sharks attack humans. They eat almost anything. They are hunted for their fins, liver, and skin, and they have a very low repopulation rate. So if they're hunted and being killed, they won't be able to catch up and repopulate. A common type of shark, number 3, is the great white shark. And according to National Geographic, they are far more fearsome in our imaginations than in reality, which I think is so true because I know when I go into the ocean, I think, what if there's a shark that's going to get me? But the reality is that is not going to happen. There was a fact that I read somewhere, and it said that people are more likely to get killed by a dog than a shark. Based off the amount of times we enter the ocean and how many times sharks actually attack us. So great white sharks, they are curious about humans. 1 in 3 attacks are from great whites. Population is decreasing because of fishing and accidental catching in fish nets. Okay. And then lastly, I have 2 more sharks, the whale and hammerhead shark. And the whale shark is a filter feeder. They're huge, about 40 feet long. They are hunted in Asia, specifically the Philippines. These sharks are, of what I know, friendly and don't do much harm, but they are hunted, which is unfortunate. And lastly, the hammerhead shark, they are known to be aggressive hunters, but they don't attack humans unless they're harmed. So if humans are swimming towards them and they feel threatened, they might attack. Otherwise, they are harmless. So the natural history of sharks. Specifically their teeth. So teeth give us the most info about sharks because it shows us where they lived and how big they were. According to Discovery, luckily sharks' teeth can tell us lots about the past. A recent discovery, for example, indicates that sharks may be able to adapt to climate change. Thousands of sharks' teeth dating back to 56 to 34 million years ago were found in the Canadian Arctic. An analysis showed that these sharks, extinct sand tigers specifically, lived in a relatively warm Arctic Sea with very low salinity, practically fresh water. Meanwhile, their modern-day relatives prefer salt water. So this is kind of showing that sharks, they used to live in the cold, and it was basically fresh water, but now they're able to live in salt water that's warm. So they had to have some gene switch in their mutations for them to be able to do that. So their evolution. We can find out about shark evolution because they wash up on the shores after they're dead. So the reason that they're found on the shores is because if they were in the water, their body is made of cartilage, and so that would just melt away into the ocean. But if they're up on the shore, there's more time for the body to sit, and so scientists are able to go look at that. But mutation that has happened since then, a gene mutation, is sharks used to have soft skin, but now they have dermal denticles, and this helps them be protected from predators, fights with other sharks, just really anything. So you may ask, how did sharks survive 250 million years ago? And until now, and it's because they can dive deep. Other animals don't have the luxury of being able to swim down low, or they were stuck on land, and so when we had a meteor, or when the food was scarce, sharks were able to dive down deep and survive through that. Sharks evolved by survival of the fittest. The best genes were passed down, and what I mentioned before, how sharks, they don't have their jaw attached to their skull. This is a mutation that has happened since the past. So they used to have it attached, and it was hard for them to get their food. So that's a mutation that happened since then. So legends of the shark. The megalodon is a common legend, and it's said to be 52 to 59 feet long. People thought their teeth were tongues of dragons or rocks from the moon when they washed up on shore, but then people were like, well, actually, this is the megalodon. So their teeth can be found all over the world, and we can track their age from the teeth because there's rings on the teeth. Just like if you were to see how old the tree was, you'd be able to tell by how many rings that it has. So same deal here. A theory to their death is that they, the warm oceans they were swimming in, they just dried up over time, or they starved for death because there was a competition for food was scarce, and lastly, because of the Ice Age, they were frozen to death. So since there wasn't food, they swam to the Arctic, and then the Arctic oceans froze, and they were frozen. Okay, so human effects on sharks. First of all, there's very typical stuff that happens, even in ponds in Minnesota, and that's pollution and oil spills. So that does affect sharks, but more specifically, I wanted to talk about fishing. And so sharks tend to get caught in fishing nets, and there's also shark fin hunting, and that is very popular over in Asia because there's this soup called shark fin soup, and people spend at least $100 on it, and it's just very popular. But it's sad because it's harmful to these sharks. Like, it's unethically right to fish for a shark, cut its fins off, and throw it back in the water because it will die. So I do have a little video for you that I just wanted to show. And this will show the shark finning.
Tens of millions of sharks are killed each year for their fins.
It was considered a status symbol to be able to catch a huge animal and just use a little part of it.
Rebecca Regnery with Humane Society International says Asian countries and communities around the world who eat shark fin soup are driving demand.
Their fins are cut off, including their dorsal fin, the back fin, and the side fins, pectoral fins, and even the tail. And the shark is thrown back into the water, often alive.
Those sharks will die in the ocean soon after. And Regnery says it's not just cruel, it's bad news for all marine life.
So they can kill the animals so quickly and so efficiently that the shark populations are plummeting.
She says if a shark species goes extinct from an ecosystem, other species will experience overpopulation, leading to a depletion of their food source, eventually killing off the whole food chain.
So that's just a little bit about shark finning and how it will eventually, affect like the whole ecosystem and other sharks, obviously. So why are humans so afraid of sharks? That is a common trend. For example, Jaws. A lot of people think that after that movie, a lot of people didn't want to go into the water, or they were afraid of sharks, think that they're super dangerous, but in reality, they're not. According to an author, he says, we're not just afraid of things because of the likelihood that they'll happen, but also because of the nature of them if they do happen. We are so caught up in thinking, wow, this shark is going to attack me if I go into the water. But odds are, with the amount of times we go into the ocean, that's not going to happen. And if it does happen, it's unlikely to be fatal. Most sharks are just curious. So some ideas that I have. Since we have more power over sharks and we're killing them before they can repopulate, then why are we so afraid of them? We are the ones that have the boats in order to fish. We are the ones who are killing more of them. They can't keep up with us. We're going to destroy them before they can destroy us. We kill millions of sharks, 100 million sharks every year, and yet they maybe kill 2 of all of the world once a year, which is crazy that we think that. Another idea is if we keep this up, they will soon become extinct, which is a very, very true reality. And there's not a reason to kill sharks aimlessly when we don't have to. And it's sad that we're killing so many sharks. It's just unethically right, and we don't need it. For example, when people kill deer, they're using that meat to feed their families, for example, and people who are killing sharks are using it for a type of soup, and they're wasting an entire shark's life just because of their fin. It just doesn't make sense to me. So cause and effect. If humans continue to kill sharks at the same rate, there will be a day when sharks are completely extinct. And some solutions that I've had is, if we cut straight to the point, we could pass a law to end shark fishing. An example is how rhinos are going extinct, so it's illegal to hunt rhinos. But as I was thinking about this, I just don't think that it's a reality that the world can live because it's so popular right now, killing sharks. And so a better solution that I came up with is that we could reduce the amount of sharks killed, and this will allow humans to have shark fin soup and give the sharks a chance at the ability to live and mature. So, we could try and pass some law where you have to be certified to be on the ocean, or certified to go in a certain place, and if you kill more than a few sharks, then like you should be fined, or some law that can give people what they want, which is shark fin soup, and it's sad, but also stop killing so many sharks, because the reality is that we're going to lose them, and it's going to affect the whole ecosystem. So a graph that I made is, it starts low in 2000, and then by 2040 it reaches a peak, and then by 2060 it drops quite a bit. So what I meant by this graph is that it shows the amount of sharks that are killed, or the reason that it goes up is because sharks are getting more popular to hunt, and so the more sharks that are killed, the graph will raise, and eventually by around 2040, I just gave an estimate, the shark population will begin to decline. So there won't be as many sharks that are going to be killed because there won't be enough, because they're going extinct because we are killing them. So thank you.